Snow fell softly over the old brick church in Queens. Inside, the air was heavy with lilies and grief. Lily Carter Hale stood beside her mother's casket, her trembling hands resting on her swollen belly. 14 weeks pregnant, exhausted, and alone, she scanned the crowd, hoping to see her husband, Marcus. He had promised to come. He had promised to be there, but his seat remained empty. Reverend Reyes whispered a prayer. The choir sang, "Amazing Grace." Yet, all Lily could hear was the silence where Marcus should have been. Her phone vibrated once in her pocket. Out of instinct, she pulled it out and froze. A notification from Instagram. There he was, Marcus Hale, smiling in a tailored Dior suit at the River Cafe in Brooklyn. Champagne glass in hand, his arm wrapped around a woman half her size. The caption read, "Happy 26th birthday. Sienna number, love in the city." Lily's heart cracked. The photo showed the Manhattan skyline glowing behind them, the same skyline she and Marcus had once dreamed of watching from their future home. Now it was the background of her humiliation. Her husband wasn't late. He had chosen not to come. Her knees buckled. Reverend Reyes caught her before she fell. "Easy, my child," he murmured. "God sees everything." Outside, cameras flashed from curious mourners. "Isn't that Marcus Hale, the tech millionaire?" Someone whispered. "Why isn't he here?" Lily bit her lip to keep from screaming. The cold air cut through her black coat as she stepped outside, staring at the gray clouds. Somewhere across the river, Marcus was probably toasting to love, laughter, and luxury. She could almost hear his laugh echoing over the snow. Her phone buzzed again, a message from her friend Naomi Brooks, the lawyer who had warned her about Marcus's financial walls. "Naomi, don't panic. Something's off with his company too. Call me tonight. And don't go back to Park Avenue alone." Lily pocketed the phone, tears mixing with snowflakes. "I just buried my mother," she whispered. "He buried my heart." A gentle hand touched her shoulder. It was Mrs. Whitman, her elderly neighbor from Queens. She handed Lily a small wooden box, edges worn with age. "Your mother told me to give you this if she didn't make it," she said softly. "Said it was important." Lily stared at it, confused. "What's inside?" Mrs. Whitman shook her head. She said, "Lily will know when she's ready." At that moment, Reverend Reyes called her back for the final blessing. Lily clutched the box tight. She didn't feel ready for anything anymore. Later that evening, she sat alone in the dimly lit church hall. The sound of snow shovels scraping outside mingled with the hum of fluorescent lights. She opened her phone again, Marcus's latest story. Him laughing beside Sienna as a sparkly cake appeared, a Cartier bracelet glinting on her wrist. Her stomach twisted. She pressed a hand to her belly. "I promise you," she whispered to her unborn child, "you'll never grow up thinking love means humiliation." As she rose to leave, a tall man in a dark coat watched her from across the street. His eyes followed her every step. When she glanced up, he vanished into the shadows, leaving only a faint reflection in a parked Mercedes nearby. Lily didn't know it yet, but that man had been at her wedding. And he was about to turn her shattered grief into something far more dangerous. The real story hadn't even begun. The cab stopped in front of the Hale residence on Park Avenue. Lily stepped out, clutching her small black purse and the wooden box Mrs. Whitman had given her. Snowflakes still drifted down, melting on the fur collar of her coat. Her mother's funeral dress clung coldly to her skin. She had imagined Marcus waiting at home, ashamed, apologetic, maybe even crying. Instead, the penthouse windows were dark. The doorman gave her a pitying look. "Mrs. Hale, Mr. Hale left an hour ago. Said he'd be gone for the weekend." "Weekend?" Lily whispered. "It's Wednesday." She rode the elevator in silence. The marble floor gleamed, her reflection fractured by light. When she entered the apartment, a blast of citrus perfume, Sienna's scent, hit her before the lights even came on. The place no longer felt like home. Her gaze landed on the dining table. A glossy Cartier box sat open, inside a gold bracelet identical to the one Sienna had worn in the photo. Next to it, a half-empty champagne bottle and 2 glasses, one with lipstick, red and mocking. Lily's throat burned. She turned toward the bedroom, only to stop short. The closet door was ajar. Marcus's suits were gone. His Rolex box, too. The shelf where their wedding photo once stood was empty. Lily opened her phone. No messages. Only a voicemail from Marcus left hours earlier. Lily, don't make today about you. I had to show up for people who matter to the company. It's business, not personal. We'll talk when you're calm. Her hands shook. She sank onto the bed, sobbing silently. The city lights outside shimmered like ghosts. For a long moment, she wanted to disappear into them. Then a thought cut through the pain. Naomi's message from earlier. Don't go back alone. Why had she said that? Lily stood, heart pounding. She walked into Marcus's home office. On his desk sat her laptop, her silver MacBook Pro open but locked. Nearby lay a stack of financial documents, his handwriting all over them. She typed his old password. Hail Empire 01. It opened. Her eyes widened. Several files titled Asset Transfer and Prenuptial Revisions. In one, her name appeared beside a clause she'd never signed. In the event of separation, all holdings revert to Hale Quant Trust. Dated last month, Marcus had transferred everything, the apartment, cars, accounts, into the company name. She owned nothing. Lily covered her mouth. He planned this, she whispered. A sound broke the silence. A faint beep. Her phone lit up. One new email from Naomi Brooks. Subject: Don't panic. He's freezing joint funds. I'm checking legal options. How? She opened her banking app. Balance: 0. Every joint account frozen. Her credit cards declined. She stumbled toward the living room, clutching her belly. Okay, she whispered to herself. You can't stay here. She grabbed a small suitcase, stuffed in clothes, prenatal vitamins, her MacBook, and the wooden box. She hesitated at the doorway, glancing once more at the life she thought she had. The art Marcus had chosen, the gray couch where they'd watched La La Land, the smell of her mother's favorite candle, still burning faintly on the table. Then she noticed something strange, a security camera blinking above the kitchen door. She'd never seen it before. Her pulse quickened. Marcus was watching even now. She unplugged it, heart racing, and whispered, Not anymore. Downstairs, she called a cab. The doorman asked, Mrs. Hale, should I let Mr. Hale know you're leaving? She shook her head. No. He'll find out soon enough. How? As the taxi pulled away from Park Avenue, Lily stared at her reflection in the window. Behind her, the building glowed gold against the dark sky, tall, powerful, and cold. She whispered to her unborn child, We're going home, sweetheart. Back to Queens. But just as the car turned the corner, her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. A distorted voice said, You shouldn't have opened that laptop. Her blood ran cold. Someone was watching, and now they knew. The cab dropped Lily in front of her mother's old house in Queens. The snow had turned to slush, pooling in the cracks of the driveway. The porch light flickered weakly, the same one her mother used to leave on when Lily came home late from nursing shifts. She carried her suitcase inside, the wooden box pressed against her chest. The silence of the house felt heavier than any grief she'd ever known. Inside, everything smelled faintly of lavender and old paper. Family photos still lined the hallway, her mother at the hospital in her nurse's uniform, Lily in her graduation gown. She set her bag down and stared at the box. For a long time, she couldn't open it. Finally, she whispered, Okay, Mom, what did you want me to see? The lid creaked. Inside were folded letters, a small black notebook, and a fountain pen with a faded gold clip, her mother's Mont Blanc. Beneath them, wrapped in a linen handkerchief, was a silver USB drive. She frowned. Her mother never owned a computer. Why a USB? Lily plugged it into her MacBook. A single folder appeared. Betrayal, Trust. She clicked. Hundreds of documents filled the screen: contracts, scanned checks, even emails between Marcus and someone labeled Investor X. Her pulse quickened as she read. It wasn't business talk. It was code for transfers, huge sums of money wired through offshore accounts disguised as charitable donations. And in the corner of one document, she saw something that froze her heart. Her mother's signature. Margaret Carter, financial guarantor. No, Lily whispered. Her mother had co-signed something for Marcus. But what? The next file was a promissory note from 2 years ago. Marcus borrowing $750,000 to cover Hale Quant's temporary liquidity issue. Her mother had guaranteed it against her own small house, the very one Lily was standing in. Lily's hands shook. He used her. He used her to fund his company. A soft knock startled her. She slammed the laptop shut. At the door stood Mrs. Whitman, holding a mug of chamomile tea. "You look pale, dear. Everything all right?" Lily forced a smile. "Just tired." Mrs. Whitman hesitated. "Your mother worried before she passed. She said Marcus was hiding something." She didn't trust his smile. When the neighbor left, Lily reopened the laptop. A new window had popped up, a live connection. Someone else was accessing the USB remotely. Lines of text appeared on the screen. "Who are you, and why do you have this?" She yanked the drive out, panicked. Her phone rang instantly. Naomi's voice came through, urgent. "Lily, listen. Those documents, don't share them yet. Marcus is under quiet investigation. You could be in danger if they think you helped." "What kind of investigation?" Naomi hesitated. "Financial crimes. SEC, maybe FBI. But it's messy. They might drag you in." "Mess." Lily gripped the Mont Blanc pen. "He forged my mother's signature. That's not messy. That's evil." "Then we'll prove it," Naomi said firmly. "Meet me tomorrow morning at my office. Bring the box. Don't tell anyone where you are." That night, Lily couldn't sleep. The radiator hissed, and the snow outside turned to rain. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw her mother signing papers at the kitchen table, Marcus's charming grin hovering over her shoulder. She turned on the lamp and opened the black notebook. Inside were numbers, dates, and a final note written in her mother's handwriting. "If anything happens to me, the truth is in his accounts. Follow the paper trail, Lily. Don't let him silence you." Thunder rolled outside. Lily looked at the USB, then at her belly. "I won't, Mom," she whispered. "Not again." She tucked the drive inside the wooden box, along with the Mont Blanc pen. Just as she turned off the light, headlights flashed across the window. A dark car idled at the curb. Her phone buzzed unknown number again. This time, a text. "You shouldn't have opened it twice." The car engine roared, then slowly drove off into the rain. Lily realized the ledger wasn't just evidence, it was bait. The next morning, sunlight fought its way through gray clouds as Lily stood outside the Brooks and Carter law office in Midtown. She had barely slept. Her eyes were puffy, her nerves raw. The wooden box felt heavier than ever in her bag. Naomi Brooks greeted her with a worried smile. Tall, sharp, and kind-eyed, she was the one friend who'd stood by Lily since nursing school. "You look awful," Naomi said softly, locking the door behind them. "I found something," Lily whispered. "Something my mother left." They sat in Naomi's glass-walled office overlooking Madison Avenue. Lily pulled out the USB and notebook, setting them on the desk. Naomi plugged the drive into her computer. Within seconds, her screen filled with files, contracts, offshore transfers, emails signed by Marcus. Naomi's brow furrowed. "He used your mother's credit line to fund his company before the IPO. That's fraud, Lily. If this is real, he could face prison. Then why hasn't he been arrested?" "Because someone's protecting him," Naomi replied, scrolling fast. "He has political donors, investor friends, people who owe him favors." A knock on the door interrupted them. Naomi's assistant peeked in, holding a stack of letters. "This came overnight. Urgent delivery." Naomi frowned, opening the envelope. Inside was a formal notice from the State Bar Association, temporary suspension pending investigation for ethical misconduct. Lily's heart dropped. "What? You? Misconduct?" Naomi's jaw tightened. "This is fake. Someone filed a complaint claiming I leaked confidential client data from Hale Quant." Lily froze. "You didn't." "Of course not," Naomi said, pacing. "But they attached screenshots, emails between me and an anonymous source that don't exist. This was planted." She slammed her laptop shut. "Marcus is moving fast. He's trying to cut you off from help." At that moment, Naomi's phone buzzed. A text popped up on her screen, an unknown number with a single message. "Loyalty has a price." Lily's stomach churned. "Naomi, someone followed me last night. A car parked outside Mom's house. They knew I opened the files. Naomi grabbed her coat. We're leaving. Now, you're staying with me until I clear this mess. As they rushed down the stairwell, Naomi's phone rang again. She answered, voice sharp. Brooks speaking. A man's voice on the other end said calmly, "You should have listened, Miss Brooks. Halequant protects its own." The line went dead. They exited onto the crowded street. Horns blared. Lily's heart raced. She turned to Naomi. "He's behind this, isn't he?" Naomi exhaled shakily. "Marcus always plays two games. Charm in daylight, control in shadows. He's pulling strings through Sienna. She's his mouthpiece in the press." Lily frowned. "Sienna? You mean that influencer?" Naomi nodded grimly. "She's not just a mistress. She runs a small PR firm handling crisis management for CEOs. She's already feeding gossip columns. The next story will be about you, the unstable pregnant wife who's trying to destroy her husband's empire." The world tilted. "He's erasing me," Lily whispered. Naomi grabbed her shoulders. "Then we hit back smarter. You have the truth. But before we go public, we need to trace these accounts. There's a forensic accountant I trust well. Trusted. I'll see if he still takes my call." They reached the corner, crossing toward a Starbucks. Naomi's phone buzzed again, an email notification. Her expression darkened. "Naomi?" She handed the phone to Lily. The screen showed a new article already live online. Exclusive. Pregnant wife of tech millionaire under investigation for cyber intrusion. Lily's face went white. "They're accusing me?" Naomi cursed under her breath. "They're framing you before you can speak." A flash of cameras exploded across the street. Two paparazzi shouted, "Lily, is it true you hacked your husband's files?" Naomi pushed her inside the cafe. "Keep your head down." Inside, the espresso machine hissed. Lily's hands trembled as she clutched a cup of hot tea. "He's destroying both of us." Naomi leaned closer. "Then we'll burn his lies before they burn you. But first, we find proof he can't bury." Outside, another flash lit the window. But this time, it wasn't paparazzi, just a man in a black coat, watching them silently before disappearing into traffic. Lily didn't know his camera wasn't for gossip, it was surveillance. Snow had turned to sleet by the time Lily returned to her mother's small house in Queens. The windows rattled in the cold, and the hum of the refrigerator was the only sound. She made tea but couldn't swallow a sip. The online articles about her hacking her husband's company had already spread. The photos of her leaving Naomi's office were everywhere. Headlines screamed, "Pregnant nurse sabotages fintech millionaire." She turned off her phone. Her pulse thundered in her ears. "He's faster than I thought," she murmured. Then the doorbell rang. Her heart jumped. Through the frosted glass, she saw a man in a black coat, clean-cut, polite, holding a briefcase. She hesitated, then opened the door a few inches. "Mrs. Hale?" His voice was smooth. "I'm from Halequant Legal. Mr. Hale asked me to deliver this." He handed her a white envelope stamped with the company's logo. "Please sign here to acknowledge receipt." "I'm not signing anything." He smiled slightly. "It's just a confidentiality agreement. For your protection, you'll receive monthly support if you avoid public statements or legal claims. In exchange, you agree to—" "Silence," she interrupted. He didn't deny it. "Mr. Hale believes discretion benefits everyone, especially in your condition." His eyes dropped deliberately to her belly. Anger flared. "Tell Marcus I won't be bought." The man shrugged. "Then I'm afraid this situation could become complicated." Lily slammed the door. She leaned against it, breathing hard. The baby kicked faintly. "We're okay," she whispered, though she didn't believe it. An hour later, her phone buzzed again, Marcus's name. She almost ignored it, but answered, voice shaking. "What do you want?" He sighed. "Lily, please, you're emotional. You don't understand what you're doing. The press is eating this alive. Sign the NDA, and I'll make sure the accounts are reopened. You forged my mother's signature. You used her to fund your empire." A pause, then a cold laugh. "Don't throw around accusations you can't prove. You think screenshots and notebooks make you a lawyer. I don't need to be one," she said quietly. "Naomi is." Marcus chuckled darkly. "Naomi Brooks? You mean the suspended attorney under investigation?" She's finished. You should choose your allies more wisely. Lily's throat went dry. What did you do to her? I didn't do anything, he replied smoothly, but Sienna's team made sure her reputation reflected reality. Reality? That she leaked client data for revenge. You don't have friends left, Lily. Don't make yourself next. Her grip tightened on the phone. I already am next. He lowered his voice. Be smart. You're pregnant. Do you really want to drag a baby into this? Sign the papers. Stay quiet. And I'll take care of you. I'll even cover medical costs. Her hands shook. You mean you'll own me? Semantics, Marcus said. The world loves a calm, graceful wife, not a hysterical liability. Lily's tears spilled silently. You stood me up at my mother's funeral. Business doesn't stop for death, he snapped. The line went dead. She stared at the phone in disbelief, then hurled it against the wall. It shattered. She sank onto the floor, sobbing. But beneath the grief was something new, a slow, burning rage. She wiped her face, opened the wooden box, and pulled out the Mont Blanc pen. The metal felt warm, almost alive. You wanted silence, she whispered. But you forgot who taught me to fight. Suddenly, a light flickered outside. Headlights swept across the window again, the same black car as before. She crawled toward the curtain and peeked through. The vehicle idled for several minutes before driving away. Lily stood still, listening to the fading sound. The air felt thick, electric. Then came a soft vibration. Her MacBook screen lit up on its own. An email appeared from an unknown sender. He's watching you. But he's not the only one watching him. Her breath caught. Someone else was in this game, and they had just made contact. Rain pounded the windows that night, the kind of relentless downpour that made the city hum like a restless animal. Lily sat on the couch in her mother's old robe, staring at the glowing email on her MacBook screen. He's watching you. But he's not the only one watching him. Hon. She typed back before thinking. Who are you? No reply. She checked the clock. 2:37 a.m. The air smelled faintly of metal, like a storm brewing inside her chest. The baby kicked once. She whispered, We're okay, sweetheart. But she didn't believe it. A soft thud echoed outside. She froze. Through the window, she saw a figure standing by the mailbox, umbrella tilted low. The same dark coat. Her pulse spiked. She grabbed her phone dead battery. Her charger had vanished from the counter. The power flickered. Another knock. She inched toward the door, clutching her mother's Mont Blanc pen like a weapon. Who's there? A male voice answered, calm but firm. I'm not here to hurt you. My name is Agent Connor Blake. I work for the SEC. She hesitated. The SEC? Like Wall Street? Yes, ma'am. Securities and Exchange Commission. I need 5 minutes. It's about your husband. She unlatched the chain cautiously. Connor stepped inside, tall, mid-30s, trench coat dripping water, eyes scanning the room like a radar. He showed his badge. It looked real. You received something you weren't supposed to, he said quietly. The USB drive? He nodded. That ledger belonged to us. It was evidence in a financial investigation. Your husband wasn't supposed to have it. Her mind spun. You mean Marcus is being investigated? Connor's gaze hardened. Yes. And he's also cooperating with us as an informant. Man. The words sliced through the air. What? Marcus reported several fraudulent transfers connected to his own company 6 months ago. But here's the twist, he blamed them on you. Lily's knees weakened. On me? He told us you accessed company systems without authorization. The problem is, his story started falling apart when that ledger resurfaced in your possession. Someone leaked it. Now you're both targets. She slumped into a chair. Why would my mother have it? Connor hesitated, then lowered his voice. We think she discovered inconsistencies when Halequant borrowed funds against her property. She probably backed up everything, intending to report him. But she passed before she could. Marcus likely thought it was gone for good, until you opened it. Lily pressed her hands to her temples. So now what? Do I go to the police? No. Not yet. This investigation runs deep foreign investors, money laundering, even shell charities. If Marcus suspects you're talking to me, he'll shut down every trace. Her eyes narrowed. He already has. Connor's expression softened. I'm sorry for what he's done. But you need to stay quiet for now. Let us use what you have. She studied him. Why help me? Because your mother tried to help us too. She filed an anonymous report before she died. I was the one who took her call. Silence. Lily's throat tightened. She trusted you. Connor nodded. And I failed her. I won't fail you. But you have to disappear for a while. Disappear? I'm pregnant. I can't just... Do you think Marcus cares? Connor cut in. He's protecting a billion-dollar company. You're a liability to him now. Lily's breath hitched. Where do I go? Connor handed her a slip of paper. Hotel Edison, room 509. 2 nights. Use cash only. Leave your phone here. 1. Before she could respond, headlights flashed across the room, another car pulling up outside. Connor glanced through the blinds, jaw tightening. That's not my team. What? He drew his gun. Move away from the window. The house went dark. Tires screeched outside, and a bullet shattered the front glass. Lily screamed, ducking behind the sofa. Connor fired once into the night. Silence. Then, footsteps retreating into the rain. Connor helped her up. They know you talked to me. Lily trembled, clutching her belly. Then what now? He looked at her grimly. Now, Mrs. Hale. We run. By the time dawn broke, the rain had stopped, but the city was trembling with noise. Helicopters buzzed over Manhattan, and breaking news banners scrolled across TV screens. Hale Quant under investigation. Secret birthday video leaked. Lily sat in the back seat of a taxi beside Agent Connor Blake. Her hands were hidden under a gray blanket, shaking. The car smelled of old leather and rain. I thought you said this would take weeks, she whispered. Connor's jaw tightened. It wasn't us. Someone inside your husband's company leaked that video. He's about to be eaten alive. The driver turned up the radio. A reporter's voice echoed through the static. Sources confirmed the footage was taken at the River Cafe in Brooklyn during the same hours as the funeral of Margaret Carter, the mother of Marcus Hale's wife. The video shows Mr. Hale celebrating with a woman identified as PR influencer Sienna Blake. Lily's chest tightened. She could see it now, Marcus raising a glass, kissing Sienna as fireworks lit the Manhattan skyline. It was the moment her life split in two, now plastered on every screen in America. Connor turned off the radio. This helps you more than you think. The public's on your side now. Public sympathy doesn't erase forged papers, she muttered. He glanced at her. No, but it makes your husband bleed faster. They stopped at a small motel near the Lincoln Tunnel. Inside, Lily changed into clean-clothes jeans, a soft gray sweater, a baseball cap. She looked nothing like the elegant wife on Marcus's arm in glossy magazines. Her phone buzzed, Naomi's number. Connor shook his head. Don't answer. I have to. She's all I have left. She answered anyway. Naomi's voice came through, breathless. Lily, are you seeing the news? I'm watching the world burn, yes. Naomi lowered her tone. Marcus is calling it a deepfake. He's blaming you for the leak, saying you did it out of revenge. Lily's heart sank. Of course he is. That's not the worst part, Naomi said. He's filing a restraining order claiming you're unstable and a threat to your unborn child. He wants emergency custody once the baby's born. Lily gripped the phone so tight, her knuckles turned white. He's insane. He's desperate, Naomi replied. And desperate men do stupid things. Connor took the phone gently. Miss Brooks, we'll handle this. Keep digging, but stay off public radar. We've got someone tailing Sienna's PR team. Naomi sighed. Then tell Lily this isn't over. The media storm just began. After the call, Lily stared at her reflection in the cracked motel mirror. The woman staring back wasn't broken anymore, just furious. Hours later, the news cycle reached its peak. Hale Quant's stock plummeted. Investors panicked. And Marcus, cornered by flashing cameras outside his midtown office, snapped. Don't believe what you see, he shouted to reporters. My wife is emotionally unstable. She's fabricating stories to extort me. The crowd jeered. Someone yelled, Then why weren't you at the funeral, Marcus? He froze, lips tightening. For the first time, He looked unsure. The clip went viral, instantly titled, "When Lies Run Out." Hem. That evening, Connor scrolled through live feeds. Public opinion just turned. The SEC's pressure doubled. He can't hide now. Lily sat beside him, sipping weak coffee. "He'll come for me." Connor nodded. "That's what we're counting on." She frowned. "You're using me as bait?" He didn't answer directly. "Let's just say if he reaches out, we'll be listening." Her phone lit up again, unknown number. Connor motioned her to put it on speaker. Marcus's voice filled the room. Calm, icy. "Congratulations, darling. You've ruined me. But you forgot one thing I always ruin better." "Marcus, stop." Click. The line went dead. A notification followed seconds later. Incoming email. Custody motion. Court hearing Monday. Lily whispered, "He's going to drag our baby into this." Connor met her gaze. "Then we make sure he never gets the chance." Outside, a thunderclap rattled the windows. Across the street, a newsstand displayed tomorrow's headline. "From Funeral to Scandal, the Fall of Marcus Hale." But Lily knew this was only the beginning of his fall. 3 days later, Lily sat in the waiting room of Lenox Hill Hospital, her hands resting protectively on her belly. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, washing everything in pale blue. She'd been having chest tightness for hours, stress, the doctor said. "You need calm," he had warned. But calm was a luxury she couldn't afford. Connor Blake had arranged a safe checkup under a false name. She was officially Anna Cooper now. The receptionist smiled gently, unaware that the woman before her was at the center of Manhattan's biggest scandal. Across the waiting area, a man in a navy suit read quietly from a Kindle. His hair was dark, with faint silver streaks at the temples. When their eyes met, he smiled politely, then looked down again. His presence felt strangely grounding. Moments later, the nurse called, "Anna Cooper?" Lily followed her into the exam room. The rhythmic sound of the fetal monitor filled the silence, steady, strong. Her baby's heart beat. She felt tears sting her eyes. "You're still fighting," she whispered. When she returned to the lobby, the man with the Kindle was still there. He rose, offering a hand. "Ethan Cole," he said with quiet warmth. "We met years ago at a charity gala, Children's Heart Foundation. You wrote me a thank you letter after your neonatal rotation." She blinked. "You remember that?" "Hard to forget," he said. "You signed it in blue ink and drew a tiny heart next to your name." She smiled faintly, her guard softening for the first time in weeks. "I used to believe in good endings back then." Ethan studied her carefully. "You look like someone who still does, just not for herself." Before she could reply, her phone buzzed. Naomi's name appeared. Lily hesitated, then answered. "Lily," Naomi said breathlessly, "I found something. You're not going to believe this." "What now?" Naomi lowered her voice. "Sienna Blake, your husband's mistress. She's not just connected to Hale Quant. Her last name before rebranding was Blake. She's registered under her mother's surname in Boston. And guess what her biological father's name is?" Lily froze. "Don't say it." "Richard Hale, Marcus's father." The air left her lungs. "That makes her," Naomi finished quietly, "his half-sister." Lily's mind went blank. She sank into the nearest chair, the phone slipping slightly in her grip. "No, that's impossible. Marcus would never," Naomi cut in. "He knows, Lily. I checked the sealed family court documents. Richard Hale acknowledged both children privately. Marcus hid it when he married you. It's in his sealed trust records." The world spun. Ethan noticed her trembling and knelt beside her. "What's wrong?" She shook her head, unable to speak. Naomi's voice cracked through the line. "This is bigger than infidelity. It's incest and financial conspiracy. Sienna's been helping him launder money under her PR company's name." Lily's vision blurred. Why would she go along with it? "She didn't know at first," Naomi said. "But when she found out, he used it to control her. Blackmail, shame, fear, the works." "No," Lily whispered. "Oh my God. My husband has been sleeping with his own sister." Her stomach twisted. The baby kicked, reacting to her pulse racing. Ethan gripped her hands. "Breathe, Lily. Deep breaths. Focus on me," Naomi continued. "Connor needs to know. This could end his entire defense. but Lily barely heard. Every promise Marcus had ever made flashed through her mind the way he'd said, "We're soulmates." The way his father had looked at her at the wedding with silent unease. She finally whispered, "He destroyed my mother for money. And now this?" Ethan squeezed her hand. "You can't let him break you, too." The doctor rushed in, sensing her distress, her blood pressure spiking. "Get her on oxygen." Lily gasped for air as nurses swarmed. Naomi's voice shouted through the speaker, "Lily, hold on, don't let him win." Darkness crept at the edges of her vision. She heard the baby's heartbeat on the monitor, fast, desperate. And then, faintly, another voice, Connor Blake on the phone, telling someone, "We have confirmation. Send it to the DA, now." When Lily opened her eyes hours later, Ethan was still there, sitting by her bed with a Starbucks cup in hand. "You scared the hell out of everyone," he said softly. Her voice trembled. "He's sleeping with his sister, Ethan. And the whole world's calling me crazy." Ethan nodded solemnly. "Truth has a way of burning slow, Lily, but when it ignites, it consumes everything." Outside, lightning illuminated the skyline. The storm wasn't over, and Marcus Hale had no idea the fuse had just been lit. 5 nights later, Manhattan shimmered under golden light. The annual Innovation for Humanity Gala filled the ballroom of the Plaza Hotel with CEOs, investors, and press. Champagne flowed, camera flashes painted the marble pillars, and a string quartet played beneath a massive chandelier. Marcus Hale stood at the center of it all, tailored in a black Dior tuxedo, smiling like he still owned the world. His arm rested possessively on Sienna Blake's waist. Her red gown glittered under the lights, diamonds dripping from her neck. No one would have guessed that the woman on his arm was his half-sister, or that the empire behind his smirk was seconds from collapse. Outside, Connor Blake adjusted his earpiece, scanning the crowd from the security balcony. "Target in sight," he muttered. "Video team ready." A voice crackled through. "All set. Projector cue in 3 minutes." Across the street, Naomi Brooks and Lily waited inside a black sedan. Lily's stomach was tight, not just from nerves but from the pressure of the baby kicking. She wore a navy maternity dress. Ethan had helped her choose, simple, elegant, anonymous. Naomi checked her watch. "Once the screen plays, everything changes. Are you ready?" Lily stared out the window at the gleaming towers. "He wanted to destroy me in public. I'll return the favor." Ethan's voice came from the driver's seat. "You don't have to go in there." "I do," Lily said. "People need to see the truth from my eyes, not from a headline." Connor's voice came over the encrypted phone. "It's time. Entrance doors clear." Lily inhaled sharply, then stepped out into the cold night. The doorman's eyes widened slightly as he recognized her, but she walked past with calm grace. Inside, heads turned. Whispering spread like a spark. "Is that Lily Hale? She's supposed to be in hiding." Marcus froze mid-conversation when he saw her. For the first time, his confidence cracked. "Lily," he hissed, striding toward her. "What the hell are you doing here?" She met his gaze evenly. "Paying my respects. You skipped one funeral, Marcus. Don't miss your own." Before he could respond, the ballroom lights dimmed. The massive LED screen behind the stage flickered to life. Marcus turned slowly, eyes narrowing. The video began footage from the River Cafe birthday night. Marcus and Sienna laughing, kissing, whispering promises over champagne. The camera panned to the background, where a time-stamped news alert scrolled across a TV screen. "Funeral held today for Margaret Carter." Gasps filled the room. Someone shouted, "Oh my God, that's the same night." Sienna paled. "Marcus, turn it off." But the video didn't stop. The next clip was worse, a recording from Marcus's office security feed. His voice cold, saying, "She's emotional. She'll sign whatever I tell her. She doesn't even know I forged the documents." Lily's chest ached, but she didn't look away. Naomi and Connor had retrieved the footage through Hale Quant's whistleblower portal. It was legal. It was undeniable. Marcus lunged toward the AV booth. "Cut the feed. Shut it down." Too late. The final image filled the screen, a scanned page from the Hale family court archives. Richard Hale listed as father to both Marcus and Sienna. The crowd erupted. Phones lifted. Reporters shouted questions. "Marcus, Is this true? Were you aware of your relation to Miss Blake? Security tried to push Lily aside, but she stood her ground. He knew, she said loud enough for everyone to hear. He knew everything. Sienna broke free from Marcus's grip, eyes wild. You told me it was fake. You said the papers were forged. Marcus grabbed her wrist, his mask slipping completely. Keep your mouth shut. She slapped him across the face. Cameras flashed like lightning. Connor's voice crackled through Lily's earpiece. We got it. Every angle recorded. Walk away now. But Lily didn't move yet. She stepped closer to Marcus. You destroyed my mother, my name, my peace. Now everyone knows who you really are. Marcus turned toward her, eyes burning. You think this ends me? Lily whispered, no, the truth will. She turned and walked through the stunned crowd. Behind her, Sienna screamed, reporters swarmed, and the once perfect image of Marcus Hale crumbled before New York's elite. Outside, Ethan opened the car door. It's done? She nodded, voice shaking. It's done. Naomi exhaled in disbelief. You just detonated a bomb in the plaza. Lily looked back at the golden windows. No, she said quietly. I just turned on the lights. Inside, Marcus realized too late his empire had just been exposed to the world. The morning after the gala, New York awoke to chaos. Every major network ran the same headline. The Plaza Scandal. Marcus Hale exposed. The footage of him slapping Sienna's hand away had been replayed 1,000 times. His company's stock plummeted by 30% before the opening bell. Lily sat in Naomi's office, watching the live coverage on the muted TV. Her hands trembled slightly around a cup of coffee. He'll fight back, she said softly. Naomi nodded grimly. He already has. She slid a legal envelope across the table. Emergency injunction. Marcus filed a lawsuit last night, claims you leaked confidential corporate data and caused intentional damage to Halequant's reputation. Lily gave a bitter laugh. He forged my mother's signature, slept with his own sister, and I'm the one ruining his reputation? Naomi rubbed her temples. That's how narcissists work. They set fire to a building and then sue the smoke. Connor Blake entered, holding his phone. We've confirmed the SEC is reopening the case. The gala footage triggered a subpoena. They're officially investigating fraud and misrepresentation. Naomi's eyes lit up. That means we can countersue with evidence. Connor nodded. But you'll need to testify. Under oath. Lily's stomach dropped. Marcus will twist everything. He'll drag the baby into it. There. Connor met her gaze. Then we make him show his true face in front of a judge. That afternoon, the courthouse buzzed with reporters. Marcus arrived in a charcoal suit, pretending calm, but the cameras caught his shaking hands. Sienna was nowhere to be seen. His attorney, sleek and rehearsed, addressed the press. Mr. Hale is the victim of a calculated smear campaign led by his estranged wife and her associates. Inside, the courtroom felt colder than the winter outside. Lily sat between Naomi and Connor. When Marcus entered, his eyes locked on her, no warmth, just fury. Judge Reynolds adjusted his glasses. Mr. Hale, your motion claims emotional and financial damages from Mrs. Hale's actions. Yes, Your Honor, Marcus's lawyer replied. She breached non-disclosure agreements and illegally accessed company files. Naomi rose, calm and deliberate. Objection. The documents he's referring to were retrieved by federal authorities during an active investigation into his company's crimes. My client acted under direction from a government agency. Marcus's lawyer scoffed. Is there proof? Connor stood and placed an envelope on the bench. Agent Connor Blake, SEC. Here's your proof. The judge opened the file, scanning quickly. It appears Mr. Hale's firm is under investigation for falsified tax documents and misuse of charitable funds. The court grants a temporary restraining order against the company, not against Mrs. Hale. Marcus's jaw tightened. This is absurd. The judge's gavel struck once. Order. Naomi leaned toward Lily, whispering, That's one win. But stay sharp, he won't stop. As they exited the courtroom, a swarm of reporters surrounded them. Mrs. Hale, is it true you leaked the incest report? Lily froze, but Naomi stepped forward. We will not comment on ongoing investigations. Marcus pushed through the crowd, his face pale but voice steady. "Lily, stop this. Think of our child." She turned to him, her voice quiet but fierce. "You only think of yourself." He leaned closer, his tone venomous. "You're nothing without me. When this is over, I'll make sure no one believes you again." Connor stepped between them. "Back away, Mr. Hale," Marcus sneered. "Oh, the hero agent. Be careful, men like me don't go down alone." That night, rain battered Naomi's apartment windows as they regrouped. Lily sat curled on the couch, the wooden box beside her. She opened it, staring at her mother's handwriting once more. "The truth is the weapon, Lily. Use it wisely." Connor placed a flash drive on the coffee table. Inside are bank records, offshore accounts linked to Marcus and Sienna's shell company. "Once this hits the courtroom, he's done." Naomi poured them coffee. "Tomorrow, we file a motion to freeze his assets. He'll be forced to answer every question under oath." Lily exhaled shakily. "He'll never forgive me." Connor's eyes were steady. "You don't need his forgiveness. You need justice." Thunder rumbled outside. Somewhere across the city, Marcus stood alone in his glass office, staring at his reflection. The city lights blinked like judgment. For the first time, Marcus Hale realized his empire was starting to crumble from within. The snow had returned, soft and silent, blanketing Queens in white. Lily sat at Naomi's kitchen table, the glow from her laptop reflecting in her tired eyes. On the screen was the motion to freeze Marcus's assets, her first real step toward justice. Naomi was on the phone with Connor, confirming details for the morning hearing. The mood was tense, but hopeful. "I'm dropping you at your doctor's before court," Naomi said, hanging up. "Connor's team will handle security until you testify." Lily smiled faintly. "You sound like my mother." Naomi chuckled. "Then listen to me, for once." Outside, a car honked. The cab she'd ordered idled by the curb. Naomi hugged her. "Text me when you get home." "Promise," Lily said, stepping into the cold. The city felt still too still. She climbed into the yellow taxi, wrapping her coat tightly around her belly. The driver, a man with kind eyes, glanced at her through the rear-view mirror. "Where to, miss?" "Queens Boulevard, please." As the car pulled away, Lily stared out at the blurred lights. Her thoughts drifted to the baby. Would he look like Marcus? Would she ever be able to tell him the truth? The questions hurt more than she expected. Halfway across the bridge, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She frowned but answered. "Mrs. Hale," a woman's voice purred, unfamiliar yet chillingly calm. "You've caused quite a mess." Lily's heart skipped. "Who is this?" "I'm calling on behalf of Mr. Hale. He wanted to remind you that stress isn't good for the baby." Lily's grip on the phone tightened. "Tell Marcus he lost the right to talk about my baby." The woman chuckled softly. "You should really watch where you're going." The line went dead. Before Lily could process it, bright headlights filled the rear window. A black Mercedes accelerated toward them, engine roaring. "Oh my God!" she screamed. The cab driver glanced back, eyes wide. "Hold on." "One." The Mercedes slammed into them from behind. The world exploded into metal and glass. The taxi spun, smashing into the guardrail. Airbags burst open, and Lily's body jerked violently. She felt the seatbelt cut into her stomach as the car stopped with a deafening crunch. Silence. Smoke. The smell of gasoline. "Ma'am, are you okay?" the driver groaned. His forehead was bleeding. Lily blinked through tears, vision swimming. "The baby," she whispered. Pain radiated through her abdomen. Sirens wailed in the distance. The Mercedes reversed, tires screeching, then sped off into the night. When the paramedics arrived, Lily was barely conscious. "She's pregnant. Get her on oxygen," someone shouted. The cold air stung her face as they loaded her onto the stretcher. In the ambulance, she drifted in and out of awareness. She thought she heard Naomi's voice through the radio, crying, "I'm on my way." Then Connor's, "Find that car. Run every plate in the tri-state area." The hospital lights blurred above her. A nurse pressed a hand to her shoulder. "Stay with us, Mrs. Hale. Your baby's heart is strong." Her vision darkened. She whispered weakly, "Don't let him win." Hours later, she woke in a dim hospital room. Naomi sat beside her. eyes red from crying. Connor stood near the window, his expression grim. "What happened?" Lily croaked. "The driver's okay," Naomi said. "You had some internal bruising, but the baby's heartbeat is steady." "No," Connor added. "The car was registered under a Hale-Quant subsidiary, the same one Marcus used to buy Sienna's penthouse." Lily's stomach turned. "He tried to kill me." Connor's jaw tightened. "Or scare you into silence. Either way, this crosses into attempted homicide." Naomi took Lily's hand. "We'll file charges in the morning. The judge won't overlook this." Lily closed her eyes, a tear sliding down her cheek. "He's lost his soul, Naomi." Connor looked out at the snow-covered skyline. "Maybe. But that means he has nothing left to lose." Lightning flashed across the sky, turning the city white for a heartbeat. Somewhere far away, Marcus Hale watched the same storm from his penthouse, a glass of whiskey trembling in his hand. And for the first time, the man who thought he was untouchable felt fear. Snow turned to sleet again the next morning, as the hospital stirred awake. Machines beeped softly. Nurses moved like ghosts. And Lily lay propped against her pillow, pale but conscious. The faint rhythm of her baby's heartbeat filled the room steady, stubborn, alive. Naomi slept in a chair nearby, her phone clutched in her hand. Connor Blake entered quietly, trench coat dripping with melted snow. He looked exhausted, but his eyes were sharp. "Morning, Mrs. Hale. You gave everyone a scare." Lily managed a weak smile. "It'll take more than a car crash to stop me." Connor handed her a folder. "Good. Because this might be the thing that ends him." Inside were printed screenshots, transaction logs, and 2 letters. At the top, the Hale-Quant logo glared in silver. "What am I looking at?" Lily asked. "Your mother's financial file," Connor said. "We pulled it from a sealed server last night. Turns out Margaret Carter filed an anonymous whistleblower complaint against Marcus 6 months before her death." Lily's pulse quickened. "She did?" "Yes. She discovered he was using her credit line to secure fake investments. The stress likely contributed to her heart failure." Tears welled in Lily's eyes. "He killed her without lifting a finger." Connor nodded solemnly. "The proof's here. We've traced every transfer over $8 million funneled through shell accounts under Sienna Blake's PR firm." Naomi stirred awake, rubbing her eyes. "Please tell me we can use this in court." Connor nodded. "We can. And there's more." He opened a small evidence bag and pulled out the silver USB Lily had found in her mother's box. This drive contained an encrypted file. My techs cracked it at 2 a.m. Inside was an audio recording dated 4 months before Margaret's death. He pressed play on his tablet. A familiar voice filled the room, Lily's mother. "Marcus, this isn't right. You can't list me as guarantor for a loan I didn't approve." Then Marcus's voice, cold and composed. "You'll do it for Lily. You want her to have a future, don't you?" "Not like this," Margaret replied. The recording crackled, ending with Marcus's chilling words. "You'll regret saying no." Lily covered her mouth. A sob tore free before she could stop it. She knew. She tried to fight him. Naomi whispered, "We need to hand this to the district attorney immediately." Connor nodded. "Already done. But Marcus has powerful friends. He'll try to spin this as emotional manipulation or claim the file's been altered. Then," Lily wiped her tears, "then we show them something he can't spin the truth in his own handwriting." Naomi frowned. "What do you mean?" Lily opened the wooden box and pulled out her mother's Mont Blanc pen. "This pen," she said softly, "it's more than sentimental. The USB was inside. But look." She twisted the top. A thin metal tube popped out, lined with microfilm. Naomi's eyes widened. "No way." Connor leaned closer, stunned. "What is that?" Lily handed it to him. "My mother must have hidden this in case something happened. She wasn't just keeping evidence, she was protecting me." Connor carefully examined the microfilm under the desk lamp. "It's a copy of the original loan agreement signed by Marcus, notarized under his alias account. That's irrefutable." Naomi grinned for the first time in days. "He's done." Connor nodded. "This gives us grounds for criminal fraud, coercion, and potentially negligent homicide." Lily's tears mixed with relief. "She saved me, even after she was gone." Connor's phone buzzed. He checked it. expression darkening. The DA's office just confirmed Marcus's lawyers are trying to move the case to federal court. They're panicking. Naomi smiled faintly. Let them panic. Lily leaned back, closing her eyes. My mother warned me once that truth has a heartbeat. It stops when you ignore it. She pressed a hand to her belly. I can feel hers again. Outside, the snow eased, and sunlight filtered through the window. For the first time in months, Lily breathed without fear. But across town, in a penthouse that once looked invincible, Marcus Hale stared at a breaking news alert. New evidence links Hale Quant's CEO to fraud and extortion. His glass of whiskey trembled. He thought he buried the truth with her mother, but Margaret Carter had just risen from the grave to destroy him. The next 48 hours unfolded like a storm that refused to end. Every major network played the leaked recording of Marcus coercing Lily's mother. Talk shows tore him apart. Stockholders demanded his resignation. Hale Quant's offices on Park Avenue were swarmed with reporters. But Marcus didn't hide. He smiled for the cameras and told every journalist the same thing. This is all fake. A grieving wife trying to cash out my name. Inside his penthouse, though, the cracks showed. Sienna Blake paced across the marble floor in a silk robe, mascara smeared. You told me this was handled, she snapped. You said the documents were destroyed. Marcus poured himself whiskey. Everything can be fixed, Sienna. I just need time. Time? She scoffed. You've lost your board, your investors, your reputation. Do you even understand what you've dragged me into? He turned, voice low. Dragged you into? You were part of it. You moved the money. You kept your mouth shut. Don't act like some innocent saint now. Her face paled. You promised to protect me. Marcus smiled coldly. And you promised to be useful. The words sliced through her. She stared at him, realization dawning he would sacrifice her next. Across town, Lily sat in Naomi's office, reviewing the evidence pile growing by the hour. Connor had arranged for her to testify before the grand jury in 2 days. He's cornered, Naomi said, but desperate men dig deep. We need to stay ahead. Lily rubbed her belly. I'm ready. Connor looked uneasy. I'm not so sure you are. Marcus still has allies, people with money and reach. They could try to discredit the recording. Lily met his eyes. Then we show them something real. My mother's signature. His handwriting. His voice. He can't erase that. Naomi's phone buzzed. She frowned. That's odd. What is it? Lily asked. Naomi's face drained of color. A warrant. For your arrest. Lily froze. What? Marcus filed charges claiming you were part of the fraud. He says you knew about the offshore accounts and helped conceal them. Connor snatched the phone, scanning the document. He's lying, but it's enough to stall proceedings. If they take you in, he buys time. Lily felt dizzy. They'll arrest me? Naomi grabbed her coat. Not if we move first. Minutes later, they rushed into the courthouse lobby. Connor flashed his badge, speaking with the clerk. You can't execute that warrant, he said sharply. It's under review by the SEC. The clerk hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. Connor turned to Lily. You're safe for now. But safe didn't last. That evening, as the city drowned in rain, Sienna Blake appeared live on a primetime interview. Dressed in black, eyes red, she played the part of a betrayed lover. I didn't know who he really was, she told the host. He manipulated me. I thought Lily was unstable. He told me she was violent, jealous. I believed him. Lily watched the broadcast in disbelief. She's lying. Naomi muted the TV. Wait, Sienna continued, her tone trembling. I found files Marcus made me hide, documents proving he forged Margaret Carter's name. I'm turning them over to the FBI. Connor blinked. She flipped. Naomi smiled slowly. Oh, Marcus, you arrogant fool. In his penthouse, Marcus hurled his glass at the wall, shattering it. That ungrateful snake. Oh, his assistant rushed in. Sir, the FBI's downstairs. Marcus grabbed his coat, panic replacing pride. Tell them I'm not here. But it was too late. Agents filled the lobby. Cameras flashed as he was led out in cuffs, rain streaking down his face. Across town, Lily watched it live. The man who had nearly destroyed her life now looked small, wet, humiliated, and alone. She whispered, "Justice doesn't need revenge. It just needs time." Naomi nodded. And sometimes, karma comes with an audience. Connor's phone buzzed again. He checked the alert and frowned. "It's not over." "What do you mean?" Lily asked. "Sienna's cooperation deal protects her. But Marcus just named you as an accomplice in exchange for leniency." Lily's breath caught. "He's still trying to take me down." Connor sighed. "Yes. He's going to drag you into his grave." Lightning split the sky outside the window, and in the reflection of the glass, Lily saw herself not broken, not afraid, but ready. Marcus Hale had played his final card, but he didn't realize Lily Carter was holding the deck now. The storm hadn't stopped for 2 days. Wind howled through Queens, knocking out power lines and shaking windows. Inside the small hospital room, Lily lay restless, pain twisting through her abdomen. Her baby's heart monitor beeped in uneven rhythm. Every few minutes, she flinched, clutching her stomach. Naomi sat beside the bed, scrolling through documents on her laptop, trying to distract both of them. "The DA's office has enough to charge Marcus with 3 felonies, she murmured. "Fraud, coercion, and attempted homicide." Lily tried to smile. "Good. Maybe my baby can be born into a world where he's behind bars." But the next wave of pain hit before she could finish. Her breath hitched. "Something's wrong." Naomi stood immediately, pressing the call button. "We need a doctor." The nurse rushed in. "Mrs. Hale, your blood pressure's spiking again." The words blurred. Lily's vision dimmed. She felt like she was falling underwater. Then, through the fog, she heard a familiar voice, deep, calm, grounding. Hey, Lily. It's okay. I'm here." She opened her eyes. Ethan Cole stood at her bedside, rain-soaked and breathless, a paper bag of takeout in one hand. "I heard what happened on the news. You scared the life out of me." Naomi exhaled with relief. "Thank God you're here." The doctor entered, checked Lily's vitals, and frowned. "You're dehydrated and under extreme stress. We're giving you IV fluids and something mild for the contractions. You need rest, not adrenaline." When the doctor left, Ethan set the bag down and took Lily's hand. His palm was warm against her cold fingers. "You've been fighting battles nonstop. Even soldiers need to breathe." Lily's voice trembled. "Every time I stop, something worse happens." He looked at her gently. "Then maybe it's time to stop running from peace." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I don't even know what peace feels like anymore." Ethan smiled faintly. "It feels like knowing you're safe right now. Here. With people who actually care." Naomi gave him a small nod and stepped into the hallway to take a call. Silence settled between them, broken only by the monitor's steady beeping. Lily studied him. "Why are you here, Ethan? You barely know me." He leaned back in the chair. "Because 5 years ago, my wife died in this same hospital. She was 7 months pregnant. I couldn't save her. I promised myself if I ever saw someone fighting for 2 lives, I wouldn't walk away." Her breath caught. "I'm so sorry." He shrugged softly. "Grief doesn't need pity. It just needs purpose." Lily's tears turned to quiet sobs. "I don't think I can do this alone." "You're not alone," he said. "Not anymore." The baby kicked, and for the first time in days, Lily smiled. "He's stubborn, just like his father." Ethan's gaze darkened. "Then let's teach him to be stubborn for the right reasons." Before she could answer, Naomi burst back into the room, face pale. "They moved Marcus to federal custody, but he's refusing bail. He's claiming he's being framed, and he just leaked a recording saying you forged the files." Lily groaned. "He never stops." "May." Connor's voice came through Naomi's phone speaker. "Let him dig. The judge already has the original documents. The harder he fights, the deeper he sinks." Lily nodded weakly. "Then let him drown in his own lies." Naomi touched her shoulder. "You rest. We'll handle the rest." As the night deepened, Ethan stayed by her side, reading softly from a worn book he'd pulled from his coat pocket, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. His voice was steady, calm. "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Lily listened, eyes closing. "What stands in the way becomes the way. she repeated quietly. Exactly, Ethan said. And tomorrow, you'll take that way back to freedom. The room dimmed to silence, except for the sound of her breathing evening out. Outside, the storm finally began to ease, the wind dying into soft rain. And somewhere in the darkness, Marcus Hale sat in a federal cell, unaware that the woman he'd tried to destroy was finally finding her strength again. The next morning dawned gray but calm. The city that had devoured Lily's peace for months now seemed to exhale with her. The hospital room smelled of disinfectant and hope. Naomi entered, a folder in one hand, 2 coffees in the other. Good news, and very good news, she said, handing Lily the coffee. Which first? Lily managed a tired smile. Start with the regular good. Marcus's lawyers are jumping ship, Naomi said. 3 of them just withdrew from his case. They claim he misrepresented material facts, which means he lied to them. Lily took a sip. That sounds like him. Naomi grinned. Now for the very good. She opened the folder and laid down a single page, the last page of her mother's will. This was sealed in probate court, until the DA's office flagged the whistleblower evidence. It contains something called the Phoenix Clause. Lily blinked. The what? Your mother's little masterpiece. Naomi tapped the paper. It's an amendment, she added, the year you got married. It states that, if her death is ever linked, directly or indirectly, to financial or moral misconduct by her son-in-law, all her trust holdings and investments revert to her daughter and unborn heirs. That includes her Halequant shares. Lily froze. Wait, you're saying those shares now belong to you? Naomi finished, smiling wide. You're the majority shareholder, Lily. You just inherited the very company Marcus used to destroy you. The room fell silent except for the faint hum of the monitor. Lily's hand trembled as she traced her mother's signature. She knew, she whispered. She knew he'd betray me one day. Naomi nodded. Your mother was smarter than any of us realized. She built your safety net before she was gone. At that moment, Connor Blake entered, phone in hand. Ladies, he said with that half-grin he only wore when things turned in their favor. The feds just confirmed. The Phoenix Clause holds up under corporate law. Marcus Hale no longer owns Halequant. Naomi laughed. Oh, the irony. Lily's mind spun. He'll lose everything. Connor nodded. He already has. The board has scheduled an emergency meeting for tonight to vote in a new interim CEO. Naomi added. They've requested your presence. Lily blinked. Mine? Connor shrugged. Technically, you're their boss now. Her heart pounded. I can't face them not after all this. Ethan appeared in the doorway, dressed simply, calm, as always. Yes, you can, he said, because walking back in there isn't revenge, it's closure. Naomi squeezed Lily's hand. Your mom built this clause so you could rise from the ashes. Live up to it. 1. That evening, under a pale moon, Lily entered the glass tower that once represented everything Marcus had stolen. Cameras flashed as she walked through the revolving doors, flanked by Naomi and Connor. Employees whispered, phones raised, eyes wide. In the boardroom, the executives shifted uncomfortably as she stepped inside. The chair at the head of the table, Marcus's old seat, stood empty. The chairman cleared his throat. Mrs. Hale, under the revised charter and the Phoenix Clause, you are now the majority stakeholder. The board moves to remove Marcus Hale permanently as CEO. All in favor? Connor prompted. Every hand rose. The motion passed. Just like that. Naomi leaned toward Lily. Say something, the cameras are still rolling. Lily stood slowly. My mother once told me that integrity doesn't die with people, it waits in their children. For years, I thought her faith in me was misplaced. But tonight, I see she was just patient. She paused, emotion breaking through. This company was built on lies. From now on, it will stand on truth. Applause rippled through the room. Cameras flashed like fireflies. Outside, Marcus watched the live feed from his holding cell. His reflection flickered in the glass window of the interview room. Lily's voice echoed through the speakers. You can burn a woman's world, but if she carries light in her heart, she'll rebuild it brighter. Marcus slammed his fist against the table, veins bulging. This isn't over. But deep down, he knew it was. Back at the plaza that same night, the building that had once humiliated her now glowed in her honor. The banner across the ticker read, "Lily Carter Hale, the woman who took back her empire." For the first time, Lily didn't feel like a victim rising. She felt like a phoenix reborn. 2 weeks later, Manhattan was electric with tension. The courthouse on Center Street stood like a fortress under the gray winter sky. Reporters lined the steps, their cameras aimed at the entrance. Today wasn't just a hearing, it was Judgment Day. Lily stepped out of the black SUV, her posture steady though her hands trembled. She wore a navy trench coat, her mother's Mont Blanc pen clipped inside the pocket like armor. The baby kicked once, as if sensing the moment. Ethan walked beside her, silent but unwavering. Naomi and Connor followed close behind. A united front. Inside, the courtroom buzzed. The air smelled of coffee and nerves. At the defense table sat Marcus Hale, pale but composed, his once perfect hair disheveled. A faint smirk tugged at his lips, the same smirk that used to charm investors and ruin lives. His attorney whispered something, but Marcus kept his eyes fixed on Lily. The bailiff's voice cut through the noise. "All rise." The Honorable Judge Reynolds presiding. Everyone stood. The gavel struck once. The prosecution began. Assistant District Attorney Kellerman stood tall, voice firm. "Your Honor, the evidence is clear. Marcus Hale falsified financial records, coerced his late mother-in-law into loan guarantees, and attempted to silence his wife through intimidation and violence. His actions were not mistakes, they were choices." Naomi handed over the binder containing the Phoenix Clause, the USB, and the audio recording. Kellerman played the key clip, the conversation between Marcus and Margaret Carter. The courtroom fell silent as his voice echoed, "You'll do it for Lily. You'll regret saying no." Marcus flinched for the first time. Kellerman turned toward the bench. That recording cost Mrs. Carter her life. It almost cost her daughter and grandchild theirs. The defense will claim emotional instability, but what we see here is not emotion, it's predation. The judge nodded slowly. "Defense, your turn." "No." Marcus's lawyer rose, his tone smooth and desperate. "Your Honor, my client is being framed by a vengeful ex-wife and opportunistic counsel. The alleged recording lacks verified metadata. The supposed clause in the will, conveniently discovered after his arrest, smells of fabrication." Naomi stood immediately. "Your Honor, the original will and clause were verified by the New York Probate Court. We have chain of custody certification and notarization from the executor. Furthermore, forensic analysis confirmed the recording's authenticity." Judge Reynolds gestured for silence. "Proceed with cross-examination." Marcus leaned forward, staring at Lily. "Tell them, Lily," he said softly, venom beneath the calm. "Tell them you forged everything because you couldn't handle losing me." Lily stood slowly, her voice steady. "I didn't forge anything, Marcus. I lost my mother because of you. I almost lost my baby because of you. But what I didn't lose was the truth." "What?" the audience murmured. Cameras clicked. She reached into her coat pocket and placed the Mont Blanc pen on the evidence table. "This pen recorded your confession, the same one you used to sign her name." Marcus's face went pale. "That's not possible." Connor handed the judge a verification letter from the forensic lab. Ink composition and indentation analysis confirmed that signature matches this exact pen. "Your Honor, the instrument of fraud was literally in his hand." "Par." The judge looked at Marcus, his patience gone. "Mr. Hale, you stand accused of fraud, coercion, and attempted homicide. Do you have anything to say before sentencing?" Marcus's mask finally cracked. His voice trembled. "I built everything for her. She was nothing without me." Lily's eyes glistened. "You built nothing but a cage. And I learned how to walk out." The judge raised his gavel. "Marcus Hale, this court finds you guilty on all counts. You are hereby sentenced to 18 years in federal prison, with no possibility of parole for the first 10. The gavel came down hard. Reporters erupted. Cameras flashed like fireworks. Marcus shouted over the chaos, "You'll regret this, Lily." But his voice was drowned by the bailiff's command, "Take him away." As they led Marcus out, he turned one last time, his eyes full of the same arrogance that once fooled the world. Lily didn't look away. She met his gaze until he disappeared through the courtroom doors. Outside, the snow began again, soft and slow. Naomi hugged her tightly. Connor smiled faintly. Ethan placed a hand over hers. "It's over," he whispered. Lily looked up at the gray sky, the weight lifting from her chest. "No," she said softly. "It's just beginning." Cameras flashed, catching her silhouette against the courthouse steps, the woman who stood against a millionaire and won. Inside, Marcus Hale screamed his last threat. Outside, Lily Carter finally breathed free air. The courthouse victory had made headlines across the country, but for Lily, it didn't feel like triumph. It felt like release, the kind that leaves you trembling when the storm finally ends. Days later, she sat in a quiet hospital room, staring out at the Manhattan skyline softened by dawn. Her hand rested on her belly. The contractions had started just after midnight. Naomi paced the room nervously, holding her phone. "Connor says he'll be here in 20 minutes. Ethan's on his way from the gala fundraiser." Lily chuckled through the pain. "You'd think I was giving birth to a royal baby." Naomi smiled faintly. "After everything you've survived, you might as well be." The doctor entered, gloved and calm. "Mrs. Hale, you're progressing well. Let's keep you comfortable." The nurse adjusted the monitor. The steady thump of the baby's heartbeat filled the room. Lily closed her eyes, breathing through the rhythm. Between contractions, flashes of her life came back. Her mother's laugh in their queen's kitchen, Marcus's cold smirk at the wedding, the glittering lights of the plaza, the chaos of the trial. All of it had led here to this fragile, powerful moment where life began again. Naomi squeezed her hand. "You did it, you know. You ended his empire." Lily's voice was hoarse. "I didn't want to end it. I just wanted to stop being afraid." Outside the door, she heard footsteps. Ethan entered quietly, snowflakes melting on his coat. His presence filled the room with calm. "You look like a warrior," he said softly. "I feel like a war zone," she joked weakly. He set down a small Tiffany blue box on the bedside table. "For later," he said. "A promise, not pressure." She raised an eyebrow. "You brought jewelry to a delivery room?" "I brought hope," he said simply. Another contraction hit hard. Lily gripped the rails, gasping. The doctor encouraged her, voice steady. "You're almost there, Lily. One more push." Naomi brushed back her hair, whispering, "Breathe. You're stronger than this pain." Lily screamed, every ounce of her grief and resilience pouring out in that sound. Minutes stretched like hours until the doctor finally smiled. Then the cry. A thin, perfect wail filled the room. The doctor lifted the tiny boy, pink and wriggling, and placed him in Lily's trembling arms. Her tears fell freely. "Hi, sweetheart," she whispered. "You made it." Naomi sniffled. "Welcome to the world. Little miracle." Ethan stepped closer, his eyes wet. "He's beautiful." Lily looked up at him, voice breaking. "He's safe." The nurse asked gently, "Do you have a name?" Lily nodded. "James. James Margaret Hale. Carter." The nurse smiled. "That's a strong name." As she rocked the baby, Lily thought of her mother's words. Truth has a heartbeat. It stops when you ignore it. Now that heartbeat lived inside her son. Hours later, as the hospital settled into quiet, Lily dozed lightly while Ethan sat by her bed, watching her breathe. The Tiffany box sat unopened on the table. Naomi peeked in. "She's asleep?" Ethan nodded. Finally, Naomi smiled. "Good. She's earned rest." He glanced at the newborn nestled against Lily's chest. "She's more than earned it." Outside, the world buzzed with headlines. Marcus Hale sentenced to 18 years X. Wife gives birth hours later. Reporters called it poetic justice, but Lily didn't care about the noise anymore. Her world was this room, the quiet hum of life, the steady rise and fall of her son's tiny chest. When she finally stirred, dawn had returned. Ethan was still there, holding a coffee. "Morning," he said softly. She smiled sleepily. "You stayed." Where else would I go?" She looked at him, truly looked at him, the man who had stood beside her through the chaos, never asking for anything in return. "You don't have to save me anymore," she whispered. He smiled. "I didn't stay to save you, Lily. I stayed because you remind me what surviving looks like." She reached for his hand, fingers brushing the Tiffany box. Maybe we can both start living again. He opened the box slowly. Inside was her mother's old wedding ring restored, shining. I found it in a pawn shop uptown, he said softly. Marcus sold it years ago. I thought it should come home. Lily covered her mouth, tears spilling. You brought her back to me. Ethan smiled gently. No. You did that yourself. The baby stirred, letting out a tiny sigh. Lily kissed his forehead. Welcome to our new beginning, she whispered. And for the first time in forever, there was no fear left in her voice, only love, steady and unbroken. 2 months had passed since the trial. Winter had begun to fade, and Central Park was alive again with the early promise of spring. Lily strolled along the path, baby James nestled against her chest in a soft blanket. The cherry blossoms were budding, the air filled with warmth and faint laughter from joggers and street musicians. For the first time in years, peace felt real. Naomi called that morning to confirm Hale Quant's first charity division launch under Lily's leadership. The company's rebranding Phoenix Trust had become a national story of redemption. Lily poured its profits into hospitals and shelters, quietly undoing what Marcus had built on greed. She stopped at a small coffee cart near Fifth Avenue. 1 cappuccino, please, she told the barista. The woman smiled at the baby. He's beautiful. Thank you, Lily said softly. He saved me. Ender. She took a seat on a park bench, sipping her drink while watching children play by the pond. For a moment, she let herself breathe. But peace never lasted long in a story that had begun with betrayal. Her phone buzzed. A number she didn't recognize. She frowned but answered. Hello? A deep male voice came through, calm, deliberate, familiar. Mrs. Hale. Or should I say, Mrs. Carter again. Her blood ran cold. Who is this? Someone who used to work for your husband. Lily's grip tightened on the phone. Marcus is in prison. You have nothing left to threaten me with. Oh, but that's the thing, the voice replied. Marcus isn't the only Hale you should worry about. Silence. Then, almost gently, the man added, You really thought the Empire fell with him? Click. The line went dead. Lily's heart pounded. She looked around the park instinctively. Everything looked normal: families, tourists, laughter, but she suddenly felt watched. She stood, holding James closer, and started walking quickly toward the exit. Her instincts screamed, run. As she reached the corner, a black sedan slowed beside the curb. For a heartbeat, panic flooded her veins. But then Ethan stepped out, smiling softly. Hey, you okay? She exhaled shakily. I thought... Never mind. He frowned. You're pale. What happened? She hesitated. Someone called. Said Marcus isn't the last of it. Ethan's face hardened. You think it's one of his investors? Maybe. Or family. She lowered her voice. He said, the Empire didn't fall. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. Lily, look at me. You built something honest from the ashes. Don't let a ghost drag you back into his fire. Before she could answer, Naomi's number flashed on her phone. She answered instantly. Naomi? Her friend's voice trembled. Lily, the DA just called me. There's been a breach. Someone hacked into the evidence storage system. The original recordings, Marcus's confession, they're gone. Lily's knees almost buckled. Gone? Completely wiped. And the hacker used credentials from inside the prison network. Ethan cursed under his breath. That means someone helped him. Naomi continued. There's more. The guard who handled Marcus's transfer 2 nights ago missing, and the surveillance cameras cut out for 20 minutes. The park suddenly felt too bright, too quiet. Lily's voice shook. Are you saying Marcus is... Not confirmed, Naomi interrupted. But the timing is bad. Be careful, Lily. Don't go anywhere alone. The call ended. Ethan's hand tightened around hers. We're getting you home. Now. As they hurried toward the car, Lily's thoughts raced. The case, the claws, the Empire, everything she'd fought for was supposed to be over. But deep down, she knew men like Marcus didn't go quietly. Later that night, Lily stood by the window in her apartment, James asleep in the crib beside her. The city glowed beneath her, alive, pulsing, unaware of the darkness that still lingered in its corners. Her phone buzzed again. One message. No number. You took my company. You took my name. Now I'll take back what's mine. Attached was a photo. The nursery. Her nursery. Taken from outside the window. Lily froze, every muscle in her body locking in terror. Outside, across the street, a faint silhouette disappeared into the shadows. Marcus Hale was supposed to be behind bars, but his empire wasn't finished. It was reborn in the dark, waiting for revenge. The night stretched long and sleepless. Every shadow in Lily's apartment felt alive, every creak of the floor like a warning. She sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, staring at the message again, Marcus's words glowing on the screen like a ghost that refused to die. You took my company. You took my name. Now I'll take back what's mine. The attached photo of her nursery still sent chills down her spine. Whoever took it had been close. Too close. At dawn, Ethan returned from the lobby after talking with building security. No one saw anything. Cameras in the alley were cut between midnight and 2. Lily's voice trembled. That's exactly when the baby woke up. I thought it was just a noise outside. Ethan crouched in front of her, steady but tense. I've called Connor. He's sending a federal security detail. You're not staying here another night. She nodded numbly, rocking baby James in her arms. He was supposed to be gone, Ethan. He was supposed to disappear. Ethan looked away. Men like Marcus don't disappear. They reinvent themselves. At 8 a.m., Naomi burst through the door, coat unbuttoned, panic etched on her face. It's confirmed, she said breathlessly. Marcus escaped during transfer to a federal holding facility. They switched vehicles mid-route. 2 guards are missing, one found unconscious, the other still gone. Lily's knees weakened. How? He was handcuffed. Shackled. Naomi swallowed. There was an inside man. He had help. Someone powerful. Connor's voice came through on speakerphone a moment later. Lily, listen carefully. We believe Marcus left the state, possibly under a new identity. You and James are top priority. We're moving you into protective custody until he's found. How? Lily stared out the window at the city that had both made and broken her. I can't hide again, Connor. I won't raise my son in fear. Connor's tone softened. This isn't hiding. It's surviving. Once we track his movements, you'll testify again, and this time he won't walk away. But Lily barely heard him. Her mind flashed back to the message, the phrasing, the punctuation, even the rhythm. Marcus had always typed fast, missing commas, overusing ellipses. But this message, it was too neat. Too deliberate. She whispered. What if it wasn't him? Ethan frowned. What are you saying? Someone else could be using his name, Lily said slowly. Someone who wants us to think he's free. Naomi shook her head. Who would do that? Lily turned toward the crib, voice low. Someone who still believes in his empire. Hours later, they were escorted to a safe house, a brownstone in Brooklyn owned by the federal agency. The place was heavily guarded, windows sealed, cameras everywhere. Lily tried to rest, but unease kept her awake. That evening, as she sat feeding James, a knock echoed at the door. A young agent answered, then called out, "Package delivery." Ethan frowned. "We didn't order anything." The agent set a plain cardboard box on the table. No return label, just a single word written in black ink. Phoenix. Naomi's face paled. That's the name of the rebranded company. Connor, who just arrived, ordered, "Don't touch it, step back." He carefully opened the box using gloves. Inside was a single tablet device and a folded piece of paper. He read the note aloud. "Lily, you rebuilt what was mine. Let's see how fast you burn it down again." The tablet powered on automatically, displaying a live video feed of Halequant's old headquarters, now Phoenix Trust. The camera zoomed in on the 23rd floor boardroom. Flames. The building was on fire. Naomi gasped. "Oh my God, there are people inside." Sir." Connor grabbed his phone, barking orders. "Get emergency services to 45 Park Avenue. Now." Lily's hands shook violently. "He's not after me anymore. He's destroying everything I've built." Ethan turned toward her. "Or he's forcing you out into the open." Through the chaos, the feed flickered, and for a split second, a man's reflection appeared in the glass of the burning boardroom, his face half hidden by smoke. Marcus Hale, alive, smiling. Lily's breath caught. He's not running. He's coming back. Connor's voice was grim. Then this isn't just revenge, it's a resurrection. Outside, sirens wailed through the city as the fire lit up the night sky. And somewhere amid the flames, Marcus Hale whispered into the darkness, "You can't kill what you created." The fire at Phoenix Trust raged for 6 hours before firefighters contained it. By morning, the building's top floors were nothing but blackened glass and twisted steel. News helicopters circled like vultures. Former CEO, Marcus Hale, linked to arson. The anchors repeated across every major network. But for Lily, watching the flames on live television from the Brooklyn safe house, it didn't feel like justice, it felt like the end of something sacred. Connor slammed his phone onto the table. "We've confirmed it. Marcus used a fake ID to charter a helicopter from Newark last night. He's back in the city." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we stop running." Naomi looked horrified. "Stop running?" "He burned down a skyscraper, Ethan. He's unhinged." Ethan turned to Lily, voice firm but gentle. "He won't stop until you face him. He's obsessed with control. He needs her fear to exist." Lily held baby James close, her heart racing. "So what do we do? Lure him out?" Connor nodded. "That's exactly what we do. But this time, on our terms." He placed a blueprint of the burned Halequant Tower on the table. "He'll come back there. Men like him can't resist revisiting their ruins. It's symbolic." Naomi shook her head. "You're not taking Lily to a crime scene." "I'm not hiding anymore," Lily interrupted, her voice quiet but unshakable. "If he wants to see me, he'll see the woman who survived him." Connor gave a short nod. "We'll set a perimeter, hidden agents, full tactical coverage. You'll be safe." Ethan's eyes met hers. "Are you sure, Lily?" She looked down at James's sleeping face, his tiny chest rising and falling. "He deserves a future without ghosts. That starts tonight." By dusk, they stood outside the charred remains of Phoenix Trust. The city lights glowed in the distance, reflected in puddles from the firefighting hoses. The smell of smoke lingered, thick and bitter. Connor's team moved silently across the perimeter. "We have eyes on every entry point," one agent said into his earpiece. Lily stepped inside the lobby. The marble floor was cracked, ashes crunching under her shoes. Her reflection shimmered faintly in the broken glass walls. She felt her mother's presence in the silence, steady and warm. Then a voice behind her. Smooth, familiar, terrifying. "I always said you looked beautiful in ruins." Lily turned slowly. Marcus stood a few feet away, his suit filthy, a faint burn mark on his cheek. His eyes glowed with madness and obsession. "You survived everything I threw at you," he said softly. "That's almost impressive." "Almost?" Lily whispered. He smirked. "You think you won? You think a courtroom makes you clean? You took my company, my name, my world. You built your world on my mother's grave," she said, trembling but steady. "And I'm here to bury it properly." He laughed. "You always had her fire. Too bad you'll die with it." From the shadows, Ethan's voice rang out. "Step away from her, Marcus." Marcus turned, sneering. "Ah, the knight in shining armor. Tell me, do you even know who you're protecting?" "She's capable of anything, just like me." Connor stepped out next, gun drawn. "Game's over, Hale. You're surrounded." Marcus raised his hands slowly. "You can't arrest a ghost." He pressed a small button in his palm. A distant rumble echoed from above the weakened beams of the 23rd floor groaned. Connor shouted, "Everyone out." Lily froze. "No," she cried. "He's still here." Marcus lunged forward, grabbing her arm. "If I burn, you burn with me." But Ethan was faster. He slammed into Marcus, sending him crashing into a pile of debris. The detonator flew from his hand. Connor kicked it away, yelling, "Secure him." 2 agents tackled Marcus to the ground as the ceiling began to crumble. Ethan pulled Lily toward the exit, shielding her with his body as chunks of concrete fell. The noise was deafening, the air thick with smoke. Outside, the night exploded behind them. Flames roared through the building as sirens wailed. When the chaos settled, Marcus was gone, dragged out by firefighters, handcuffed and coughing. For once, His face showed no arrogance, only emptiness. Hours later, Lily sat on a bench across the street, baby James asleep in her arms. Ethan knelt beside her, soot streaking his face. "It's over," he whispered. She looked at the smoldering wreckage, tears streaming silently. He tried to destroy everything, but in the end, he only destroyed himself. Connor approached, holding a sealed envelope. "The DA's office wanted you to have this." Marcus's final written statement before the explosion. Lily unfolded it slowly. 4 words, scrawled in shaking handwriting. "You were always right." She let out a long breath and looked toward the rising sun breaking through the smoke. Naomi smiled through her exhaustion. "So what now, Mrs. Carter?" Lily kissed her son's forehead. "Now, we live." 1. And as the first light touched the ruins, the woman Marcus tried to erase stood reborn, stronger, freer, unbreakable. So, that's how the story ends, my dear friends. If you're still here right now, it means something in Lily's journey touched you, maybe not because of the drama, but because it mirrors a truth we all live with. Pain doesn't define us, it refines us. Lily lost everything: her love, her safety, her peace, but she rebuilt her life piece by piece, just like a phoenix rising from ashes. And maybe that's what we're all meant to do. Life will burn you down sometimes. But as Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the obstacle is the way. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every loss, it's not the end. It's the beginning of your awakening. When you choose to stand up, to forgive, to breathe again, that's your rebirth. Healing isn't loud, it's quiet strength, it's grace, it's the courage to love again after being broken. If this story moved something in you, take a second to breathe with it. And if you believe in second chances, in healing, in becoming your own light, then, like this video, share it with someone who needs hope tonight. And don't forget to subscribe, because here, we tell stories that remind you. You are stronger than your past, and your comeback is just beginning.